Imagine waking up at dawn and watching a lion stretch lazily in the grass 50 meters from your tent. Imagine standing on the edge of the Great Rift Valley, a crack in the earth so ancient it remembers a time before humans existed. Imagine the warm Indian Ocean washing over your feet on a white sand beach so quiet, so perfect, you forget your own name. That place is Kenya. Today, we're taking you on a journey through one of the most breathtaking, soul-shaking, and wildly diverse countries on planet Earth. From the greatest wildlife spectacle on Earth to ancient coastal cities, snow-capped mountains, flamingo lakes, and some of the warmest people you'll ever meet. Stay with us to the end, because we're covering everything: history, culture, top tourist destinations, hidden gems, food, and travel tips that could save your life on safari. Let's go. Kenya sits right on the equator in East Africa, bordered by Tanzania to the south, Uganda to the west, Ethiopia and South Sudan to the north, and Somalia to the northeast. To the east, the Indian Ocean stretches as far as the eye can see. What makes Kenya extraordinary isn't just one thing, it's the combination of everything. You have the savanna, the coast, the mountains, the deserts, the lakes, and over 40 ethnic communities, each with their own language, music, food, and tradition, all existing in one single country. Kenya is also the birthplace of humanity. Fossils found in the Rift Valley date back millions of years, making this not just a tourist destination, but the cradle of the human story. And with a population of over 55 million people and a capital city, Nairobi, that is one of the most cosmopolitan cities in Africa, Kenya is simultaneously ancient and utterly modern. It is a country of contrasts, and that contrast is what makes it endlessly fascinating. Let's start where most visitors begin their Kenyan adventure, Nairobi. Founded in 1899 as a railway camp, Nairobi has grown into one of Africa's most dynamic cities. It's got gleaming skyscrapers, world-class restaurants, buzzing nightlife, and a tech scene so active it's earned the nickname Silicon Savannah. But what makes Nairobi truly unique in the world is this: it is the only capital city on Earth that has a national park inside its boundaries, Nairobi National Park, just 10 kilometers from the CBD, where you can watch rhinos, buffaloes, lions, and giraffes grazing with skyscrapers in the background. That image right there is Kenya in one photograph. While you're in Nairobi, you must visit the Giraffe Centre, where you can hand-feed Rothschild giraffes, one of the most endangered subspecies in the world. The David Sheldrick Wildlife Trust is right nearby, home to a baby elephant orphanage where rescued elephants are raised and eventually returned to the wild. Watching them feed and play is one of the most emotional experiences in African wildlife conservation. Then there's the Karen Blixen Museum, the former home of the Danish author who wrote Out of Africa, sitting in the lush, leafy Karen suburb named after her. For food, head to the Carnivore Restaurant, a legendary Nairobi institution where you're served a rotating selection of meats roasted on Maasai swords over a huge open pit. Game meats, traditional stews, nyama choma, slow-roasted goat. This is not a meal, this is an experience. Nairobi is your launch pad, but Kenya's greatest wonders lie beyond the city. If you ever watch a wildlife documentary and think, I want to be there, this is where they film it. The Masai Mara National Reserve, covering over 1,500 square kilometers in southwestern Kenya, the Mara is part of the larger Serengeti ecosystem, and together they host what is described as the eighth wonder of the natural world, the Great Migration. Every year, between July and October, over 1.5 million wildebeest, 200,000 zebras, and hundreds of thousands of gazelles make a circular migration from Tanzania's Serengeti northward into the Masai Mara, crossing the crocodile-infested Mara River in dramatic, chaotic, spectacular fashion. Crocodiles the size of cars launch themselves at the herds. Lions wait in ambush. Leopards watch from the trees. And the wildebeest, driven by instinct alone, keep coming, wave after wave after wave. It is loud, it is violent, It is heartbreaking and breathtaking in equal measure, and it is one of the most humbling things a human being can witness. But the Mara isn't only spectacular during the migration. Year-round, it holds the highest density of big cats in Africa. Lions, leopards, cheetahs. The Mara is one of the few places on Earth where you can see all three in a single day. For the ultimate experience, book a hot air balloon safari at dawn. You'll float silently over the savannah as the sun rises, watching the animals below come alive. Then land for a champagne bush breakfast in the middle of nowhere. If you only do one thing in Kenya, make it the Masai Mara. We are halfway through this journey, and Kenya is already proving to be something truly special, isn't it? If you're learning something new, if you're already dreaming about booking that flight, do us a favor right now. Hit that like button. It takes 1 second, and it helps more people discover content like this. Subscribe if you haven't already. We cover incredible destinations just like this every single week. And drop a comment below. Would you rather do a Masai Mara safari or a Diani beach holiday? Let's see which side wins. All right, we're just getting started. The best is still ahead. Let's keep going. From the wild interior, we travel east to the Indian Ocean coast. Kenya's coastline stretches over 500 kilometers, and it is gorgeous. Warm turquoise water, coral reefs, white powder beaches, and a Swahili culture that is over 1,000 years old. Mombasa is Kenya's second city and its oldest. Founded by Arab traders over a millennium ago, it carries history in its narrow streets, its mosques, its food markets, and its people. Fort Jesus, built by the Portuguese in 1593, stands at the entrance to Mombasa's Old Harbor and is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Walking through it is walking through centuries of trade, conquest, resistance, and survival. The Old Town is a maze of carved wooden doors, spice markets, and crumbling colonial facades. Get lost in it. Eat the biryani from a street stall. Drink the freshly squeezed sugarcane juice. Talk to the people. Just 30 kilometers south of Mombasa lies Diani Beach, consistently rated one of the best beaches in Africa and the world. The sand is so white it looks artificial. The water is that exact shade of blue-green you see on screensavers and think can't possibly be real. It is real, and it's even better in person. Diani has excellent snorkeling, scuba diving, kite surfing, and skydiving. Yes, you can literally jump out of a plane and land on that beach. Not a bad way to arrive. And then there's Lamu. Lamu is unlike anywhere else in the world. A small island town off the northern coast. No cars, only donkeys and boats, with a medieval Swahili architecture that has barely changed in 600 years. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and walking through it feels like time travel. If you want peace, if you want to unplug, if you want to understand the ancient heart of East African coastal culture, Lamu is your destination. Running through the heart of Kenya like a scar from a giant sword is the Great Rift Valley, one of the most geologically dramatic landscapes on Earth. And along this valley sit some of Kenya's most spectacular lakes. Lake Nakuru, famous worldwide for its flamingos. On a good day, over 1 million flamingos line the shore, turning the entire lake pink. It looks like a painting. It's also a sanctuary for both black and white rhinos. Lake Naivasha, a freshwater lake just 2 hours from Nairobi, where you can take a boat ride among hippos and hundreds of bird species, then cycle through the surrounding acacia woodland. Lake Bogoria, lesser visited but perhaps the most dramatic. Steaming geysers shoot boiling water from the lakeshore, while flamingos feed in the mineral-rich water just meters away. It looks like another planet. And then there's Hell's Gate National Park, one of the few parks in Kenya where you can walk or cycle freely among wildlife, including zebras, giraffes, and buffaloes. The volcanic gorges here inspired the landscape of the Disney movie The Lion King. Yes, really. The Rift Valley is Kenya's geological heartbeat, and it pulses with beauty at every turn. Kenya's highest point, and Africa's second highest mountain, is Mount Kenya. Standing at 5,199 meters, Mount Kenya is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a designated national park. Its three main peaks, Batian, Nelian, and Lenana, attract thousands of trekkers and mountaineers every year. The landscape as you ascend is surreal. You pass through bamboo forest, then moorland dotted with giant lobelias and groundsels, plants that exist nowhere else on Earth at such size. Then into the alpine zone, and finally ice and snow. On the equator, in Africa, snow. Nearby, the highlands of central Kenya are covered in one of the most lush, productive agricultural landscapes on the continent. The tea plantations of Kericho produce some of the finest tea in the world. Those endless rows of deep green, perfectly manicured bushes rolling over the hills are genuinely beautiful. This part of Kenya often surprises visitors. It's cool, green, misty, and impossibly scenic. Nothing like the savanna most people picture. Kenya has over 40 ethnic communities, each with its own language, dress, ceremonies, and food traditions. The Maasai are perhaps the most globally recognized, the tall, red-cloaked warriors and women who have maintained their pastoralist culture largely intact despite the pressures of modernity. Their jumping dances, adumu, are electrifying, their beadwork is extraordinary, and their knowledge of the land and wildlife is unmatched. The Kikuyu are Kenya's largest community, entrepreneurial, agricultural, forming the backbone of Kenya's commerce and politics. The Luo on the shores of Lake Victoria are known for their music, their fishing traditions, and their famous sons, including, some claim, the ancestral line of Barack Obama. The Swahili people of the coast blend African, Arab, and Persian heritage into a culture that is unique on the continent, in their food, their architecture, their language. Speaking of language, Swahili, one of Africa's great languages, spoken by over 200 million people across the continent. Learn a few words before you visit. Jambo, hello. Asante, thank you. Hakuna Matata, yes, like the song, no worries. Now, the fruit, ugali, a stiff maize porridge, is the staple. Eaten with sukuma wiki, which is sautéed kale, or with nyama choma. Pilau rice cooked in spiced broth. Mandazi, a light fried dough, perfect for breakfast. Samosas, chapati. Mutura, a Kenyan sausage. And for drinks, a cold Tusker lager on a hot Nairobi evening is one of life's simple perfections. Chai, Kenyan spiced tea with milk, is drunk morning, afternoon, and night. Kenya's people are its greatest asset. Warm, generous, proud, and fiercely funny. Go there with an open heart. You will leave with friends. Before we wrap up, here are a few things every visitor needs to know. Visa. Most nationalities can apply for a Kenyan e-visa online before travel. It's straightforward and affordable. Best time to visit. For the Great Migration, go July to October. For the best general weather, January to March. The long rains are April to June. Cheaper rates, but some roads can be tough. Currency, Kenyan shilling. Exchange at banks or licensed forex bureaus. M-Pesa, Kenya's mobile money system, is accepted almost everywhere and is incredibly convenient. Health. Malaria prophylaxis is strongly recommended for most regions. Yellow fever vaccination is required if coming from certain countries. Drink bottled or purified water. Safety. Nairobi, like any major city, requires the usual awareness. Stick to known areas, use reputable taxis or Uber, and follow your guide's instructions on safari. Getting around. Domestic flights between Nairobi, Mombasa, Masai Mara, and other destinations are affordable and practical. Matatus, minibus taxis, are the heartbeat of local transport. Colorful, chaotic, and very Kenyan. Kenya is not just a destination, it is a feeling. It is the feeling of smallness and awe when a herd of elephants walks past your vehicle. It is the feeling of connection when a Maasai grandmother takes your hand and smiles at you without needing a single shared word. It is the feeling of standing on the edge of the Rift Valley at sunset and understanding, truly understanding, just how old and how magnificent this world is.